Oh, what crazy allegations. Alright, so at this point, I'm led to believe that we will gain nothing from these files being released. Like, sure, we have emails from Elon essentially begging to party with Jeffrey Epstein, but I made a video about Elon being in on it months ago. And even the fact that he took one of his wives to Epstein's townhouse in Manhattan, that's all old news that was reported on years ago. Of course Elon likes to party. He got 4 baby mamas. And then we got the emails claiming that Bill Gates caught an STD from some Russian girls. But again, I talked about him sleeping with Russian girls months ago. And even one of them lived at a property owned by Epstein, and he allegedly paid her tuition, which was all again public knowledge for a long time. And the rest of it is just information given on tip lines and unnamed people claiming to be witnesses on everything from Donald Trump with middle school girls and even ritualistic child sacrifice, all with no way of providing concrete proof that people are looking for. And all of this, by the way, are things that billionaires and royals have been accused of doing by conspiracy theorists for decades. There have always been eyewitnesses, but since no one has ever been criminally prosecuted, all this new information does is make the people who believe it sound crazy, and the people who don't believe it say, those guys are crazy for believing that. So at the end of the day, where does this put us? Exactly where we were before any files ever came out. Sure, a lot of people just heard all of these things for the first time from 2019 to now, but nothing changes. It's like the DOJ and both sides of the political spectrum said, hey, let's give those guys in the conspiracy subreddit something to talk about. How can both sides act like something bad happened, but nobody's in jail except Maxwell? Both parties have been in the White House during all of these allegations and nothing has happened? This is why I always say I don't trust either side. Like, clearly, something happened or is happening behind the scenes, but everybody's in on it. Like, sure, these people might disagree on policies and legislation, but there have been both Republican and Democrat presidents mentioned in these files. So this is the DOJ actively playing in your face, saying, yeah, something might have happened, and if it did, both sides are involved. What are you gonna do about it? Because at the end of the day, after we argue about which party is correct, all of these guys go to the same club and pay for the same Russian escorts, and both sides mention Epstein's jet, but nobody is talking about the fact that his pilot has been missing since 2024. You know who would probably be able to confirm what's true and what's not? The lady that flew his plane. But she's either in hiding or dead. The same woman he even bragged about purchasing at 15 years old, allegedly. Where is she? I've heard the argument that if one side was guilty, then the other side would have exposed all the dirt on them as soon as possible. But some of these allegations go back almost 50 years, and we didn't hear anything about it until 2019. You can believe whatever you want, and that's probably what a lot of people are counting on. Most of the boomers that control all of the money flowing through the economy, they don't give a fuck about these files because some of them can't even find it. And most of the young people that make up the majority of the workforce also don't care because they're too busy being broke. Of course, me, a silly YouTuber who is technically unemployed, even though YouTube pays me and I'm getting straight up extorted by the IRS, obviously I have time to worry about this, but it also gave me time to realize that all of this is no different than the weird stuff I was seeing rich people accused of when I first ever got on the internet, like in the 2000s. I was legit hearing all of this on obscure YouTube videos in like 2007 as a little kid, and nobody's in trouble for it. You can watch any criminal case and see 2 guys that committed the same crime together point at each other and say, he did it. I didn't do it, and it's hard for me to believe that's not exactly what's going on now. One of the first people we heard accused of being part of all this, along with photographic evidence, is literally a person immune from criminal prosecution. Even though in the UK, the king is the only one legally above the law, you know he's not gonna send his brother to prison. You can't be a prince anymore, Andrew. We'll have to start referring to you as a filthy commoner. That's a punishment to them, and that's all he's gonna get. If it was really this side against that side in the US, then why didn't the DOJ put Bill Clinton under federal investigation? Federal criminal investigation. Did they all sleep with Irina from Russia at the same party? We know Bill likes to party, and we know Trump likes to party. Am I supposed to believe that these two didn't party together? Especially since most of these allegations took place before Trump was even in politics. A lot of these files just add details to things that we already knew. 3 million damn files. What the fuck am I supposed to do with that? There's more files than there are people in the city of Miami. And honestly, a lot of that shit they could have kept. Like the interviews and statements from the girls that are only recounting their experience with Jeffrey Epstein, and these women are still unnamed anyway. And it's crazy to think that some of these allegations were supposedly given to law enforcement as tips, and we don't even know if anyone was ever under criminal investigation for it. Is that how that works? You can put in a tip and report a crime, and nobody gets in trouble? You know what? I'm just gonna say it. The client list is already public, because it's probably not a list like most people think. Because why would Jeffrey Epstein need to make a list when he already got everybody's phone number and email? He knows who these people are. He didn't have to make a list. He has ways to directly contact them already, as he has been on the record. So when you see all of these powerful people saying, oh, we need to release that list.
Release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list.
Man, shut your bitch ass up, nigga.
They know very well that the client list is already out there. The client list is everyone that he's emailing, everyone that he's been pictured with, everyone that he did business with. And we already know that. We have pictures of him with wealthy and powerful people, just like we have email records of him and wealthy, powerful people. That's the list. When Elon and JD Vance said we needed to make that client list public, they knew very well that that was nonsense. Because his clients are everybody that you see him associated with. Again, everything that was provided without any actual criminal charges can just be passed off as hearsay. If we have victims coming forward saying that they were with people that were part of this whole scheme, but no one has been charged, that means that no one is going to be charged. The Department of Justice operates under every president. So why didn't we hear about this in 1985? Why didn't we hear about it in 1995? Why didn't we hear about it in 2005? Why didn't we hear about it in 2015? This shit didn't just happen. Donald Trump isn't the first president to know who he is, and neither is Bill Clinton. This is a circus show, and we are being given peanuts. These appear to be nothing more than material for further conspiracy theories. And I'm not saying that nothing in these files is true. I'm just saying that this is like the FBI releasing a document saying, hey, we have eyewitnesses accusing several people of many felonies, and all of the people being accused are walking around free. And yep, that's it. Didn't really have much else to add. I just wanted to say that. Do you know how damning an eyewitness statement is in court? A lot more than it is outside of court. If the FBI had over 1 million pages including eyewitness statements against you, your ass will be under the jail. Your case would be over so quick we wouldn't even know you had one. We'd just be looking for you like, damn, what happened to dude? I heard they had 3 million pages on his ass. That many pages in any other case will more than likely have some co-conspirators that will either have to cooperate and testify or go down with Jeffrey. But instead, we just have files. We got so focused on the redactions and demanding that all the files be released that we forgot the most important part, that whatever files could be released, they already had. Which means that any criminal activity that was in there, the Department of Justice already had them. So clearly, nothing was ever going to happen.
There's no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one in the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
You know, there's a famous quote from a Roman lawyer and senator named Tacitus. After Rome had conquered Britain, the elites on the island adopted the Roman style of dress and many other things, because in the minds of the British chieftains, the Romans had just shared their knowledge and civilization, and thus, they saw this new information as their way to finally understand and be a part of the upper echelons of society. But in response, Tacitus brutally said, all this, in their ignorance, they call civilization, when it was but part of their servitude. Because no matter what the ruling class of Romans shared with them, in the end, they were seen as nothing more than servants to the ruling class. The Epstein files have been treated as some powerful knowledge that, once fully released, will bring about some change and see people held accountable, when in reality, we're nothing more than dogs being thrown a new toy. We are only given what we're given, and the victims, despite witnessing it with their own eyes, they're only allowed to speak because none of it will ever show up in court. No one will ever be held accountable for any heinous activity that did take place. And in the end, we're only left with more questions than answers. Wealthy people getting caught up in depraved activity doesn't have a party affiliation. Do you think Jeffrey Epstein cared about a political party? The list is already out, and we already know who's on it. But what's next? Nothing. All we can do with this information is slander a politician, which getting slandered is basically half your job as a politician, and that's just how it is. Hopefully this is my last video on all this because I just couldn't possibly see any new developments coming. Or at least anything that I can't find myself before the release of any files. Man, I hate when videos end like this. But I love you guys. And as always, I'll see you next time.